and relevance of Sanskrit studies for the torchbearers of Bharatiya Sanskriti in various fields. Just to save on time, I am introducing him elaborately here itself. He is a man of tall academic stature who has been working in the field of Sanskrit for a very long time, and he has worked on Bhoja's Shringara Prakasha while he was for his MPhil dissertation, as well as for his PhD thesis, The Origin and Development of Sanskrit Language in the Light of Sri Aurobindo. He has to his credit a large amount of professional experience apart from memberships at various reputed institutions like the Bharatiya Sanskrit Patrakar Sangha, being the advisor for the Vedic research, Satya Chetana Ashram, etc. And he has to his credit several papers and publications. I wish to invite Shri Dr. Sampadananda Mishra ji to take this collaborative effect point ahead, as well as speak on today's topic. So over to you, Dr. Mishra.
नमः सर्वेभ्यः। अद्य रक्षाबन्धन पर्वणः संस्कृत दिवसस्य च शुभाशया। This indeed is a very auspicious day for all of us, and especially all those who are connected with Sanskrit and all those who are lovers of Sanskrit. So on this day we have gathered here to celebrate something very, very special. And my deep regards to all the esteemed people who are present here to celebrate this, and the organizers for inviting me. I express my deep sense of gratitude. And on behalf of Sri Aurobindo Foundation for Indian Culture, also I extend a hearty welcome, and we express our deep sense of gratitude that we will be collaborating with this effort and working together for a greater purpose. Now, collaboration and reciprocal goodwill, these two are very, very essential for any good work to take place. And in that harmonious collaboration, any effective work can be accomplished. And when a number of people, a number of organizations, they come together, and these people or organizations have a harmonious aspiration and harmonious will to work together, then intensity is added to the effort. And this definitely will help accomplishing the purpose for which we all work. And in that harmonious collaboration, one thing very, very important that we all must keep in mind, that it is not you, me, he, she, not this organization, that organization. What is important is the cause for which we all have gathered. If we can keep that in mind and we can hold it in our consciousness that yes, this is the cause which is important. Whatever differences of opinion may be there, differences will be there, definitely, because no two people think alike. We all have different opinions, different viewpoints. But once we keep the cause as the most important thing, then all these differences will vanish. We will definitely make all sincere efforts to be together, work in collaboration, because our purpose is to take this work forward, which is the Sanskriti Samvardhana. Very apt name which has been chosen, Sanskriti Samvardhana. When India, the Bharat, the Bharatiya Sanskriti, Bharatiya Parampara, Bharatiya Darshana, Bharatiya Sahitya, Bharatiya Adhyatmikata, that get their right places, then the purpose of Bharat, the existence of this land will be serving greatly for the progress of the world. How we all can, this collaboration is not just doing some kind of projects with each other, some events with each other, but I look at it from a deeper spiritual point of view, that there is a greater purpose, that we all have come together on this auspicious day to collaborate with each other for a greater purpose. And that purpose is something where we see our rishis, our ancient seers and sages always carried that harmonious aspiration to take forward the progressive evolution of the humanity. This progressive evolution of the humanity is the central point towards which all that we do in the name of Indian culture, in the name of Sanskrit, in the name of this or that, we should keep in mind that progressive evolution of humanity at the individual level, at the collective level. This individual perfectibility and the collective perfectibility are two most important things that we have to work towards. And since we all belong to certain school of thoughts which have been working towards Sanskritam, working towards Bharatiya Sanskriti, there will be a greater harmony amongst us in taking forward this work. So I'm very, very happy to be a part of this whole initiative. And from Sri Aurobindo Foundations of Indian Culture, I would not say that we will extend help, because help is given to another person. Now I am not another, I am one. With we all five, I feel that we all are one. We're working together. So not helping each other, it's my work. It's the organization's work to take it forward. To keep that in the mind. With this aspiration, I again extend my thanks to all the people who have decided that we all should be together. And this is the real Satsanga. Satsanga, when we look at from the deeper point of view, the words in Sanskritam, why Sanskritam is important, I will be giving few examples during my deliberation now. So Satsanga is not just to gather together and have some discourses on some spiritual topic or something connected with the language or culture or anything, but Satsanga, Sat is the truth. Sangha is coming together to ascertain the truth. That is Satsanga. So harmoniously, a group of people, a group soul, I don't call it now the people, a group soul, aspiring harmoniously, have come together to ascertain the truth, to work for the truth. That is the true meaning of Satsanga. And this is in our Parampara, Bharatiya Parampara, Shravana Purnima is the day of initiation. There can't be a better day to begin something. This is the day of initiation. The Upanayana takes place. The changing of the sacred thread takes place. This Upanayana is the day of initiation, that one is born into a different consciousness, has a greater responsibility on one's own once this initiation has happened. I'm very, very happy. I'm even exalted, ecstatic feeling that I have, that today we are sitting here and doing this Sat Sangha in a true sense. So again, my pranam to all the elderly people who are present here, all the esteemed people belonging to different organizations, and all the participants who are viewing on the Facebook, all the people who are present on the Zoom meeting. So to all of them, I give my regard, my pranam, and then I begin my deliberation on what is the relevance of Sanskrit for all the torch bearers. And we all know the famous verse of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Yad yad acharati shreshthas tat tadevetaro jana. Sa yat pramanam kurute lokas tadanu vartate. When we are talking about torch bearers, we are referring to that Shrestha, the leaders. The leader not only leads, the leader has, the true leader has to have various qualities. No one becomes a leader by attending some leadership course, leadership workshop. But a leader has to, as per our tradition, when we see the rishis, the scientists of the ancient times, the seer sages, were the true leaders. When we turn to the first mantra of Rigveda, I'm contemplating on the word torch bearer, and from there I will move towards what our responsibilities are. So, the very first mantra of Rigveda, and I would like to request every Indian, whether you know anything or do not know, whether you have studied any Shastra or not, at least learn the first mantra of Rigveda. That becomes the identity of an Indian. That yes, I know the first mantra of Rigveda, which is the foundation of our Sanatana Dharma. I don't know anything, but I know the first mantra of our Rigveda, the foundational text. Agnimile Purohitam Yajnasya Devam Ritvijam Hotaram Ratnadhatamam. So here we see that Agni, the seers and sages, like why do we, when we begin anything, we pay our respect to the forefathers, we pay our respect to the Purvaja, Idam Namah Rishibhya, Purvebhya, Purvajebhya, Pathikradbhya, because they have paved the path for us. They have shown the path for us. They were the true torch bearers. They were the true leaders, and they had a greater responsibility. In ancient time, when the king faced certain problem in ruling, in governing, so he had to go to the rishi for solution, for counseling, because rishi's word is the final word. It has to be followed because he has the grand vision before him. He sees everything clearly. He is the drashta. He is the satya shrota. He is not just mantra drashta or mantra Shrota, Mantra Drashta or Satya Drashta. He is also Mantra Shrota and Satya Shrota, the hearer of the truth and the seer of the truth. Because he has seen the truth, he knows what is truth, he knows what is good for the progressive evolution of the humanity. So Agni Mile Purohitam has a most beautiful epithet for Agni right on the, this is the first mantra of the foundation text of our Sanatana Dharma, Purohita. Now, Purohita is very roughly interpreted or translated as priest, but priest is a very, very narrow word for translating the word Purohita. Purah, Hita. Purah means in front. Hita is placed. One who is placed in front, one who stands in front as a leader. So Agni, in fact, when we study the entire Rigveda, where Agni has about 200 hymns, and Agni and Indra are the principal deities in Rigveda. Around 250 hymns are dedicated to Indra and 200 hymns are dedicated to Agni. But Agni, from a deeper spiritual, psychological, esoteric point of view, is the true leader. It is that will force in us which leads us, puts us into action, puts us into the dynamism in this world. That will force has to be invoked first because that is the leader. A leader is the one who has that Agni, a flame in him. He prays, so that is why constantly the leader, the rishi prays, Agni Tvam Sujagrahi, Vayam Sumandishi Mahi, Rakshanu Aprayuchan Prabudhena Punaskriti. And what is the prayer? If we can carry as torch bearers, we all have to remember this, that we are not just mere torch bearers. We have a greater responsibility on us to lead. And to lead is not to lead others. A true leader, again, is not just leads or gives some guidance or counseling or has certain kind of mapping road map in front of him, but a true leader creates enormous amount of other leaders while leading others. So that is the true quality of a leader. So how do we create? It is our responsibility that we need to create more leaders on the path. There will be always, so I will be talking about certain practical problems that when we are leading certain initiative, leading certain organizations and working as leaders or torch bearers, we do face certain problems and we do have certain personal issues with many things. And when we are working for a greater cause, so all these narrow, mean and limited personal issues we have to keep behind. And that is the message of our tradition, of our parampara. Then a true Purohita. The true Purohita is a true invoker. So Hota is not again the priest. He is the Ahvata. He calls, he invites. Invites for what? He invites to move forward on the path of progress. And it is not an easy path. It is the most difficult path. Yet one needs to have that heroic strength to walk on this path. And Agni, as a Purohita, so the true Purohita invites, not only just invites, he also supplies, he also supports, lends all kinds of support so then others will be able to walk on this difficult path. And he creates that trust among others that yes, you can walk on this path. So which is a very very most important component of our tradition, that all that the message that our seers and sages have given, that to create that trust among others, to create that hope amongst others. When we were like studying Sanskrit, I will tell you the very practical thing. Some people may like it, may not like it, but we never found with everything there was no hope. We're saying, oh, what do I do studying Sanskrit? What are the options? There was no one even like to explain in a practical sense that what do we do with Sanskrit. Today, of course, the situation is changing because of the hard work of many people, hard work of many sincere leaders, we can say, sincere, seekers and sincere workers, karmi, true karma yogi, that how to take this work forward. So then the next generation doesn't feel that kind of cloudiness, that kind of gloominess, that kind of like darkness, that what is the hope of the future. So we as torch bearers, we have to keep in the mind what is the kind of trust and hope we create amongst others, that others become attracted, not only attracted, they become encouraged, and with all kinds of love, all kinds of true sincerity and encouragement and enthusiasm, they adopt, not only adopt Sanskrit, but they work for Sanskrit, for a greater future of Sanskrit. So there are few things which need to be done. So the first thing is to recover. The most important thing is to recover all the beautiful, all the ennobling aspect that is hidden in our tradition. The most important task is to recover that whole spiritual wisdom, that spiritual strength. And this, the first work of us, when we come individually or collectively as organizations. So our task must be whatever plans and programs that we will be doing to work together, to take this work forward, we have to first create such programs by which we are able to recover that noble, that ennobling aspects, those beautiful, wonderful aspects of our culture, of our tradition, of the language, of that spiritual, most importantly, that spiritual wisdom of the seers and sages, of the rishis, because that is the foundation. And that is the foundation. Someone may question that what is that foundation? Just imagine so many civilizations which were there. The history has recorded so many civilizations. But where are those civilizations? Does any civilization have a living presence today? No. Because All the civilizations, the 46, 47 civilizations, what history speaks about, have gone into oblivion. Today they are lost because none of them had that foundation. None of them had that, like inner practice, inner culture, inner tapasya. The only civilization, the Bharatiya Sabhyata, had that Samskriti, had that culture, had that inner practice, that inner strength. That created such a strong foundation that today, after so many baffling situations, baffled and beaten back again and again, it never lose hope. So the very name Bharata itself is a hope, is a trust. That is why the whole world is looking towards Bharata. Because here there is hope, here there is trust. Here there is a foundation which has been created, a vision, a roadmap has been provided to us. That is why we offer our obeisance, Namaha Pathikridbhya. Because a roadmap has been given to us, a blueprint has been given to us, and it is such a solid blueprint that like anyone who adopts this blueprint, this roadmap, and works on this path sincerely will never lose hope. Our parampara, our dharma is charaiveti charaiveti charanvai madhuvindate. That we have been constantly asked, charaiveti charaiveti. So the first task is to recover that foundation, that spiritual wisdom. Spirituality, adhyatmikata, is the key note, key tone, is this very, very central to our culture, our sabhyata, our civilization. Once that spiritual wisdom is recovered, that spiritual force is recovered, then we need to find out ways and means how to percolate that force, spiritual force, into every aspect of life. And all these things cannot happen if we merely engage ourselves in certain academic study and do certain programs and then workshops and seminars and all these things, which of course has its own value. But it all refers to that when we have decided to work for Sanskritam, work for Bharata, we need to do tapas. Without tapasya, so every one of us, every torch bearer is expected to become a yogi, expected to become a rishi. Then only we can guide, then we can show the path. As mere ordinary human beings and clinging to that ordinary limited consciousness, we cannot take this work forward. Tapas, intense tapas is necessary. Look at Vasishta Ganapati Muni. When he went, I'm sure all of you must have heard Vasishta Ganapati Muni. He was the first and foremost disciple of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. He was elder to Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, the Brahmana Swami. In fact, Vasishta Ganapati Muni discovered Ramana Maharshi and then gave this name Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi and make the whole world know who this Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi is. So he had enormous knowledge of all the Shastras. When we turn to his literature, we see that what kind of depth that he had gone into in the Shastric tradition. And he writes a letter to, he has several letters to Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi in Sanskrit, so that all these letters have been published in the collected works of Vasishta Ganapati Muni, the 11th volume. So the total work is published in 12 volumes. So the 11th volume has all these letters in Sanskrit. So one should go and read. And today, I have seen in most of the organizations and academic institutions and universities and schools and colleges, so students are not reading. They don't have the reading habit of many texts. It is a sad fact. Other than what is there in syllabus, no one reads extra. Even what is there in syllabus also, they are not studying properly. So how are we going to take this work forward unless and until we delve deeply into the tradition? Delving deep is not just to concentrate and contemplate and read and then mug up our shastras and then present it whenever it is needed in any seminar or whenever we are asked to do Vakyartha Sadas or anything. But how we are living the truth expounded in the Shastra. Because our Dharma, our Parampara is not something just to be believed, but it has to be lived and relived, not just to be believed. That yes, we have great tradition, we have great Shastras. It has to be relived, every aspect of it. In every aspect of our life, we have to live the truth. So now Vasishtha Ganapati Muni writes in a letter to Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, saying that, you know, I have done intense study of all the Shastras. There's nothing left for me to know from the Shastric point of view. I have done intense tapasya, but one thing which I have achieved siddhis in many fields by the power of tapas. He was a great tapasvi. They were the true torch bearers are the tapasvis and the yogis and rishis and munis. So he says that I have achieved siddhi in all fields, but one thing which why it is not happening, tell me. I want a decisive reply, a very convincing reply from you, my Lord. And what is that? He is referring to why my nation, my country is suffering. Is my tapas has no power to make my nation free from the suffering? And guide me. If more intense tapasya has to be done for this purpose, I am ready to do that. When we say Vayam Rashtre Jagruyama, the mantra doesn't end with that. Vayam Rashtre Jagruyama Swaha. That Swaha is the Balidana, the Atmahuti. We should not stop at Vayam Rashtre Jagruyama. That Swaha has to be absorbed in our consciousness. We have to adopt that, relive that. At every moment, that Atmahuti has to be there. I am ready every moment to sacrifice. I am ready to do that Atmahuti, that Balidana for my nation, for my country. If that sense, that bhava is not there, then the work will not happen. The influence, definitely. There are three things by which we can educate properly as torch bearers. First thing is not by instruction, it is by awakening. Not by instruction, but by awakening. Not by awakening and by giving examples, drishtanta, prabodhana and drishtanta. This has been our tradition. Prabodhana, drishtanta and prabhava, influence. That prabhava must not be the influence is not influencing by position, by adhikaritva, that I am sitting in this position, so the world has to obey me. I am utilizing my influence. It is not that kind of influence. That is not our tradition. That is contrary to our tradition. What is influence? The very presence of a rishi, presence of a yogi is enough to influence, enough to put its impact. That presence, if we can carry as torch bearers. And for that, we have a long way to go. But that long way can be shortened. The way has been shown to us by our seers and sages. The way has been shown to us. The path has been shown to us. What should we do? Tapas, intense tapas, accelerating whatever tapasya we are doing can help us. So the second point was, how do, by the power of tapas, we percolate this spiritual wisdom and spiritual force into every aspect of our life. And the third most important task that remains to be done when we are working for Bharatiya Samskriti, when we are working for our Bharatiya Parampara, Dharma, Sanatana Dharma, this is important. We should not always sing the glory of the past. Singing the glory of the past is an insult to our Rishi tradition if we are not reliving the past. What is necessary? Past, we have to make a foundation. We have to take the message. We have to take the glow, we have to take the inspiration, we have to take the insight, we have to take all the beautiful, all that is ennobling, all that is grand, which was envisioned by the seers and sages. We have to take this, and based on that foundation, using present as the material, we have to leap towards a bright future. We can create future. If we want to create future, it is not that by becoming the past that we can create the future. The approach should never be to become the past, but use the past as a springboard to leap towards the future. Not to become the past, not to going back, because we are evolutionary being. We have to move forward. But without losing that force, that spirit, that flavor, that is why it says, Adinaha Syama Saradah Satam. May we never experience the poverty, the poorness of the spirit, being high spirited, high souled, being high potential. Prarabdham uttama gunah na parityajanti. Vignai punah punarapi pratihanyamana. Baffled and beaten back again and again by constant attacks, constant obstacles and hindrances. The Uttama Guna, the high spirited, the high potential ones never stop. They stop not till they have achieved the goal. Look at the fiery messages of Swami Vivekananda. They were the true torch bearers. So putting that effort, there was no effort towards becoming the past. When we look at all, even the modern seers and thinkers, Swami Vivekananda, Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, Sri Aurobindo, Swami Dayananda Saraswati, and the list is endless. So many sadhus, so many sannyasis, so many spiritual masters. The attempt always has been to move forward, charaiveti, charaiveti, charaiveti. Not to become the past. So, what is the point here that I'm making? That we need to create, based on that spiritual foundation, we need to create new forms of literature, new forms of polity, new forms of economic, new forms of governance, new form of architecture, art, all that, like the human life is aspiring to have. New forms. We give new forms, not the same old pattern that we continue. If we have to do ritual, that also has to take a new form. If we are talking about the Dharma Shastra, the code of conduct, the codes of conduct, they are meant for a particular time, a particular community, sthana, kala, patra. They're confined to that. There will be always these two elements in every Shastra. There will be some universal element, there will be the temporal element. So that temporal element in the Shastra has to keep changing. And it is sad that we have evolved, but we have not taken care of evolving our Shastras. Where is the new Dharma Shastra that we have created? I'm putting this question to all our fellow seekers. We have failed creating new Shastras. We are blindly following what has been given to us. We are blindly following certain temporal truths which have been given in the Shastras and then fighting over it. As evolutionary being, as Charaiveti, as we evolve, depending upon the time, situation, and our own Swabhava and Swadharma, and Swabhava and Swadharma of the nation, how the nation is evolving, keeping in mind both the individual and collective perfectibility and evolution, our Shastras also must evolve. So it is the responsibility of all the torch bearers, all the leaders, to see that the Shastras also evolve. We have Vasishta Ganapati Muni. Very few people, even in the field of Sanskrit, very few people know about him. He has given us a new Vasishta Dharma Sutra. He does not, and that is what you see, that how The later rishis, that has been our parampara. One rishi says, paying respect to the Purva rishi. Panini himself has paid respect to the Purva rishis, the previous grammarians, the previous etymologists, and he offers his new view without disrespecting. We say like iti Shakalya, iti Vasishta, iti Yajnavalkya. But this is what is my thing looking at the present condition. So how do we, instead of just confining, limiting ourselves to certain past old patterns, how do we bring a paradigm shift in every aspect of life and then connect it with our culture, our tradition, our dharma, our parampara, our Sanskriti, our bhasha. We cannot just talk about Sanskrit alone. We cannot just talk about Sanskrit alone. We have to talk about all the regional languages because they keep enriching each other. If we have not taken care of all the regional languages and we are talking only about Sanskrit, it is the same thing like avidyaya mrityum tirtva vidyaya amrutam mashnute. You cannot exclusively concentrate on avidya or exclusively concentrate on the vidya. Vidya and avidya both have to be taken together. The same way, all the regional languages of Bharata, all the regional traditions, everything has to be taken together. And look how beautifully all these languages they enrich together. I would suggest that whenever any Sanskrit conference or any related to Sanskrit language takes place, there must be a session on the regional languages and its connection with Sanskrit. That's how we can enrich each other. The differences, like the fight amongst the people which goes on, oh, my language is great, this language is great, that language is great. All those who fight, they don't love their language truly. If I have fallen in love with one single language of India, believe me, I cannot hate any language. Because there is a divine principle operating in the birth, growth, and development of every language. If I can see that, if I can be in harmony with that, then I am in harmony with that particular language, that particular community which is using that language, that the tradition, the rituals, the practice of that community which is using that language, I'm in harmony with that, I'm in love with that. Every parampara, why the paramparas are created? Because truth is manifold. It manifests in manifold aspect. The purpose of every parampara is to concentrate on a particular aspect of the truth and keep perfecting that. It is every parampara is concentrated, is expected to concentrate on the perfectibility of one aspect of the truth. Another parampara takes care of another aspect of the truth. Look at, this is how the beauty of our parampara. It is parampara, not that my parampara is the great, my guru is the great, my shastra is the great, my language is the great, my Sanskriti is the great, my nation is the great, my state is great. No. Every parampara, every tradition, every language, every practice, every individual, every community has its own uniqueness and greatness. We all have to respect that. And we must understand why different paramparas are created. Simple reason that every parampara is expected to contemplate on one aspect of the truth and keep perfecting that by living that aspect of the truth in his life without disrespecting. And when someone truly lives, that sense of dvesha will never arise in his consciousness, because all those who live the tradition, live the truth, have that intense seeking. They live in an expanded consciousness. They are the true udara chetas. And in udara chetas, ayam nijah paroveti, this bhava will not arise. It is just vasudhaiva kutumbakam. Bhava, it arises in the consciousness of the udara chetas. Vasudhaiva kutumbakam is the parinama. when we start expanding in our consciousness and live in that expanded consciousness. I hope I have been able to convey the message which I am expected to, or I was expected to. So, with these few words, again, inviting you all the Indians, all the Bharatiya Bandhus, Bharatiya Bhrata Bhagini, on this Raksha Bandhan day to participate in a reciprocal goodwill and that harmonious collaboration, because it is not my work, your work, his work, her work. It is the work of the entire nation. How do we come, all of us, harmoniously to take part in this Mahayajna and then see that our Bharata, our Bharatavarsha, our Bhasha, our Sanskriti, our Parampara, our Dharma is moving on its way to become the leader, become the Purohita of the entire world. Because the future of India, the future of the world rests much on the future of Bharata. With these words, I again express my deep sense of gratitude to all of you and then say, Jayatu Samskrita Janani Jayatu Jayatu Bharatavarsham Jayatu. Dhanyavada.
धन्यवादः सम्पदानन्द मिश्रा महोदयः अतीव उत्तमं यदुक्तमस्ति. You have expressed some very important and very beautiful thoughts of how one has to lead by an example, being exemplary, and we have to show its relevance, else we can't take it ahead. And the last point was extremely beautiful. I'm sure everyone's taken that in, and thank you so much for being here and being able to say this to all of us.